Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts or story in the comments, and subscribe to our latest stories. Before I start, tell me where you're watching from. I wonder which cities and towns will join me in this memory that will follow me for years. He suddenly burst into the house and we were in the kitchen for 3 hours non-stop. You won't believe what happened. He pushed me with his hand. I managed to get out, but not in the way you think. It was late afternoon, one of those cloudy days when the light looks tired and the walls seem to listen. I was making tea, still in my slippers, when the door flew open with a sound that nearly made me drop the kettle. It was Daniel, my old friend, my neighbor, and the kind of man who never raised his voice but somehow filled every room he entered. He looked exhausted, his eyes red around the edges, his jacket half unzipped. Before I could say a word, he said, "I need to talk to you, right now. You have to understand." Daniel wasn't dramatic. If he showed up unannounced, something was wrong. So, I gestured toward the kitchen and told him to sit down. The kettle finally whistled, and for a second, it was the only sound between us. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table, steam rising between our mugs. He started talking, haltingly at first, then faster, his words tumbling over one another. His brother had passed away. The one he hadn't spoken to in years. The one he'd sworn he'd never forgive. I didn't say anything at first. I just listened. The kind of listening that doesn't need words, only presence. And that's when it happened, what I didn't expect. He stood up, pacing, his voice trembling. "I pushed him away when he needed me most," he said. "And now I can't fix it." He slammed his hand on the counter, then pressed his palm against the wall, as if trying to steady himself. His movements were sharp, filled with regret. When he turned toward me, his hand brushed mine, firm, unintentional, but full of emotion. I stepped back slightly, not out of fear, but because the air between us felt heavy. That's what I meant when I said, he pushed me with his hand, and I managed to get out. It wasn't about leaving the room, it was about helping him find a way out of his own guilt. For the next 3 hours, we stayed there, in that same kitchen, talking like time had forgotten us. The clock ticked, the tea went cold, and the outside world faded. He told me stories about his brother, how they used to ride their bikes through muddy fields, how they fought over their father's old watch, how the silence between them had stretched for years like a bridge that neither dared to cross. I listened, asked gentle questions, and once, when words failed him, I just reached out and placed my hand over his. It was such a small gesture, but in that moment, it felt like forgiveness could begin there. By the time the sky turned dark, we were both quiet. The house felt softer somehow, like it had absorbed everything we said and decided to keep it safe. Daniel finally stood up, shoulders lower, breathing steadier. "I don't know what I'd have done if I hadn't come here," he said. "You'd have figured it out," I told him. "You just needed someone to remind you that it's not too late to make peace with him, or with yourself." He smiled, not the kind you show to be polite, but the kind that comes from somewhere deep inside. Then he left, quietly, the same way he came in. After he was gone, I stood there for a while, my hands wrapped around the cold mug. The hum of the refrigerator filled the silence. Outside, the first raindrops began to fall, tapping gently on the windowpane. And I realized something. Sometimes, the most unexpected moments are not about shock or chaos, but about how two people meet at a breaking point and somehow find healing together. It wasn't just his story that changed that evening. It was mine, too. I'd spent years thinking that emotional connection had to come wrapped in certainty or romance. But that night taught me something different, that true connection happens in shared silence, in understanding, in the courage to be seen. When I turned off the lights and headed upstairs, I looked back once more at the kitchen, the same space where laughter, grief, and forgiveness had all taken turns. It felt alive now, like it had witnessed something sacred. And maybe that's what life really is, one long kitchen conversation, where we push through pain, hold on to truth, and somehow manage to get out, stronger than before.